She was living between two versions of herself, and neither felt like home. Emily's journal at 23. Hey, it's Emily, and I need to tell you about my friend, Maya. Last month, I found her sitting in her car outside her childhood home at midnight, crying. Not because something bad had happened, but because nothing felt right anymore. She'd just quit the job she'd worked toward for 4 years, broken up with her long-term boyfriend, moved back in with her parents at 25. Everyone thought she was having a breakdown, but Maya told me something that hit different. "I'm not breaking down," she said. "I'm breaking open. I've outgrown my old life, but the person I'm becoming hasn't shown up yet. And I'm stuck in this terrifying middle where I don't recognize myself anymore." This is Maya's story, about living in the messy middle between who she was and who she wants to be, and how she learned that sometimes you have to live in the void before you can become whole. Maya had her life figured out, or so it seemed. She graduated college at 22 with a business degree her parents had pushed her toward. Safe, they called it. Practical. Got hired immediately at a consulting firm. Good salary, benefits, career track. She moved in with her college boyfriend, Tyler. They'd been together since sophomore year. Everyone assumed they'd get married. Her mom was already planning the wedding in her head. On paper, Maya was crushing it. The job, the relationship, the apartment in a nice part of town, the gym membership she actually used, the friend group from college who still did brunch every Sunday. But around 24, something shifted. Maya started feeling this weird disconnect, like she was watching herself live someone else's life, going through the motions, saying the right things, checking all the boxes, but feeling nothing. She'd sit in client meetings, presenting strategies for companies she didn't care about, and think, is this really what I'm doing with my life? She'd lie in bed next to Tyler, listening to him snore, and realize they hadn't had a real conversation in months. Just logistics. Who's picking up groceries? What time are we meeting your parents? Surface-level coexistence. Her friends still talked about the same things they'd talked about in college. Who's dating who? Where to go out this weekend? Office drama. And Maya would sit there feeling like an alien, like she'd evolved past these conversations but had nowhere else to go. She started noticing the cage she'd built, the safe, practical, parent-approved cage. The job wasn't challenging anymore. It was just repetitive. Make deck, present deck, revise deck, bill hours, repeat. Tyler was comfortable, but was he right? Did they even want the same things? She didn't know, because they never talked about real things. Just went through the relationship routine they'd been performing for years. Her apartment was nice, but it was decorated in a style she'd copied from Pinterest, because that's what you're supposed to do when you're a successful 20-something. Nothing in it actually reflected who she was, mainly because she didn't know who that was anymore. Maya felt like she was suffocating inside a life she'd worked so hard to build. But here's the thing. She didn't know what she wanted instead, just that this wasn't it. The breaking point came on a random Tuesday. Maya was in a client meeting, presenting a market analysis she'd spent 40 hours on. The client was nodding, impressed. Her boss was pleased. This was supposed to be a win. And Maya felt absolutely nothing. She excused herself to the bathroom, locked herself in a stall, and had a full panic attack. Not because something was wrong, but because everything was right and it still felt hollow. That night, she tried to talk to Tyler about it. "I think I need to make some changes," she said carefully. "I'm not happy with my job. I feel stuck." "You just need a vacation," Tyler said, not looking up from his phone. "You're burnt out. Everyone goes through this." "It's not burnout. It's bigger than that. I feel like I'm living someone else's life." Now he looked at her. "What does that even mean? You have a great job. We have a great apartment. What more do you want?" "I don't know. That's the problem. I just know this isn't it." "You're being dramatic," he said. "You're just in a phase. You'll get over it." And that's when Maya realized Tyler didn't see her. He saw the version of her that fit his plan. College, girlfriend, future wife, mother of his future kids, person who didn't disrupt the comfortable routine. He couldn't see that she was changing. Or maybe he could, and it scared him, so he dismissed it. 2 weeks later, Maya quit her job, just walked into her boss's office and gave notice. No plan, no next step. just couldn't do it anymore. Tyler freaked out. "What are you thinking? You can't just quit without another job lined up. That's not how responsible adults behave." "Maybe I don't want to be that kind of responsible," Maya said. They fought for 3 days straight. About money, about the future, about how Maya was throwing away everything they'd built. Finally, Tyler said it. "I don't even recognize you anymore. You're not the girl I fell in love with." And Maya realized he was right. She wasn't that girl anymore, and she didn't want to be. They broke up, Maya moved out, crashed with a friend for a week, then swallowed her pride and moved back to her childhood bedroom at her parents' house. At 25, single, unemployed, living at home. Everyone thought she was crazy. Her parents were disappointed, but trying to be supportive. Her friends didn't get it. Her Instagram still showed the highlights of her old life, but she'd stopped posting because it all felt like a lie. And Maya? Maya felt like she was free-falling. No safety net, no identity, no idea who she was without the job and the boyfriend and the carefully constructed life. She'd burned down her old life, but the new one hadn't appeared yet. She was living in the messy middle, and it was terrifying. The first month back home was brutal. Maya spent most of it in bed, alternating between panic attacks and numbness. Her mom kept asking, "What's your plan?" And Maya wanted to scream, "I don't have one. That's the whole point." But then, something started to shift. Without the noise of her old life, the demanding job, the surface-level relationship, the constant social obligations, Maya started hearing herself for the first time in years. She started journaling, not structured, goal-oriented journaling, just stream of consciousness thoughts, whatever came up. She realized she'd been performing a role for so long, she'd forgotten what she actually liked, what made her excited, what felt true. She started experimenting, small things. Took a pottery class because it sounded interesting, read books she'd never have read before, went on walks alone and just thought. It felt indulgent, wasteful, like she should be job hunting, networking, rebuilding her life with purpose and direction. But her therapist, yes, she started therapy, told her something that changed her perspective. "You're in a liminal space," the therapist said. "It's not comfortable, but it's necessary. You can't build a new identity on top of an old foundation. You have to clear the ground first. That takes time." "How much time?" Maya asked. "However long it takes. This isn't a process you can rush." Maya hated that answer, but she also knew it was true. She started noticing the ways her old self tried to pull her back, the urge to apply for consulting jobs just because it was familiar. The temptation to reach out to Tyler because being alone was uncomfortable. The desire to rebuild her old life because at least that life had structure. But every time she almost gave in, she'd ask herself, "Is this what I actually want? Or is it just what I know?" And the answer was always the same. It was just what she knew. Her therapist called these threshold tests, moments where the old life beckons, offering the comfort of familiarity. But crossing back over that threshold would mean giving up the chance to discover what else was possible. Maya stayed in the middle, in the void, in the discomfort. And slowly, things started to emerge. It's been 6 months since Maya quit her job and moved home. She's not the same person she was, but she's also not fully the person she's becoming yet. And she's learned that's okay. She started freelancing, not consulting. She never wants to go back to that, but writing. Something she'd always loved in school but dismissed as impractical. She doesn't make nearly as much as she did before. But for the first time, work doesn't feel like draining her soul. She went on a few dates, nothing serious, but she's learning what she actually wants in a partner now, that she's not just accepting whoever shows up and treats her decently. She moved out of her parents' house into a tiny studio apartment. It's not fancy, but it's hers, and she decorated it with things she actually likes, not things that look good in photos. She lost some friends from her old life, the ones who couldn't understand why she'd walk away from stability. But she found new ones, people who were also figuring things out, who didn't have it all together, who were comfortable with the questions. Maya told me recently, "I used to think I'd ruined my life. Everyone else from college is getting engaged, buying houses, climbing corporate ladders. And I'm here in a studio apartment, freelancing, single, still figuring it out. But here's what I realized. They're not ahead of me. We're just on different paths, and their path was killing me. She's not there yet, wherever there is, but she's not trying to be anymore. She's learning to exist in the becoming, to trust that the messy middle is where the real transformation happens. That you can't shortcut through the void. You have to live in it. Maya's story taught me something I needed to hear, and I think you might need to hear it too. If you're in that space where your old life doesn't fit anymore, but your new life hasn't appeared yet, you're not failing, you're transforming. And transformation is supposed to be uncomfortable. You're supposed to feel lost. Undefined, like you don't recognize yourself in the mirror some days. That's not a breakdown. That's a breakthrough happening in slow motion. The messy middle is where old versions of yourself die, and new ones are born. You can't rush that. You can't skip it. You have to live it. Stop trying to fill the void with distractions, with the safety of your old life, with anyone else's timeline. Sit in the silence. Let it teach you. Let yourself be undefined for a while. The person you're becoming can't emerge if you keep clinging to who you were. You've outgrown that version. It's served its purpose. But it's not you anymore. And the new you? She's forming. In the quiet moments, in the experiments, in the failures and the tiny victories and the days where you have no idea what you're doing, but you keep going anyway. Trust the process. Trust the void. Trust that the messy middle is exactly where you need to be right now. Maya's still in it, still becoming, and she's more herself than she's ever been. That's her story. That's what I learned from watching her navigate this. Thanks for being here. If this resonated, subscribe to Emily's Journal at 23. Tell me about your messy middle in the comments. And remember, you don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to keep becoming. I'll see you in the next entry.